12 recent archaeological discoveries in Africa that even top experts can't explain. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Ancient History Channel. Dear friends, I'm sure many of us have heard that Africa is the cradle of humanity, the place where the journey of evolution began millions of years ago. But what if I told you that recent archaeological discoveries are leaving the scientific community stunned? Would you believe it? From fossilized skeletons that don't match any known prehistoric human species to strange underground structures hidden beneath layers of rock and soil for tens of thousands of years, all of this points to one thing. Maybe we don't fully understand the true origins of humankind. Every inch of this land, seemingly dry and wild, is gradually revealing secrets that history once buried deep. There are ancient tombs discovered in almost perfectly preserved conditions, prehistoric rock carvings with shapes that defy explanation, and mummies unlike any from known cultures. So, what do these discoveries really tell us? Are we possibly missing a chapter in the story of humanity? And do these mysteries come from humans or from something beyond? Join me today as we begin this journey of discovery, uncovering the truths lying dormant beneath the soil of Africa. Remember, don't take your eyes off the screen, because what's coming next will leave you absolutely amazed. Now let's get started with the very first discovery. The world's oldest cemetery challenges everything we know about human history. Did you know that deep beneath the earth in Africa, famously known as the cradle of humanity, a shocking secret has just been uncovered that could upend everything we thought we knew about the origins and minds of our ancestors? It's not an ancient lost civilization, nor a forgotten temple or city. Instead, it's an ancient cemetery, believed to be the oldest ever discovered in human archaeological history. At this point, many might think, what's so unusual about a burial site? But hold on, it's far from simple. Recently, a team of paleontologists in South Africa, led by the renowned scientist Lee Berger, announced a groundbreaking discovery. They found the remains of an ancient human species called Homo naledi, buried as deep as 98 feet underground inside a cave system located in the cradle of humankind near Johannesburg. This site is well known to archaeologists, having provided crucial evidence about human evolution in the past. But this discovery exceeded all expectations. Why? Because this cemetery, listen carefully, dates back at least 200,000 years BCE. That means it existed long before modern humans, Homo sapiens, became widespread on Earth. It's at least 100,000 years older than any previously known evidence of burial behavior. What baffles scientists the most is this. Homo naledi, the owner of the cemetery, stood only about 5 feet tall and had a brain the size of an orange. Until now, we believe that only humans with advanced intelligence, like Homo sapiens, could bury their dead with ritual, as such behavior requires awareness, emotion, and even spirituality. Yet here we have a primitive human species with a small, simple brain, deliberately digging pits, placing bodies inside, and covering them back up. Each burial pit contains at least 5 bodies, all showing signs of careful handling, not random or natural occurrences. This can be seen as a symbolic act, a ritual, rather than mere disposal of corpses. We're facing a big question. When exactly did intelligence, emotion, and human consciousness begin? Have we underestimated the capabilities of our ancient relatives? Could ideas like the soul and life after death have originated long ago, even before civilizations existed? It's hard to answer definitively, but as you can see, this discovery is more than just an archaeological milestone. It challenges the entire hypothesis about the evolution of human consciousness. It forces us to rethink whether intelligence is only about brain size or if there's something deeper. And of course, this is just the surface. How many mysteries still lie buried beneath Africa's soil, waiting to be uncovered? Could this be a sign that we've only scratched the surface of true human history? Join me as we continue to explore the next discovery in this mysterious land. Three-million-year-old stone tools, revealing the first steps in humanity's evolutionary journey. If there's one place on Earth that holds the most mysteries about the origins of humankind, it's definitely Africa, the land famously known as the cradle of humanity. And recently, this very land has stunned the world once again as archaeologists uncovered a set of stone tools dating back an astonishing 3 million years on Kenya's Homa Peninsula. At this point, you might be thinking, 3 million years? When exactly was that? Well, that's precisely the time when our distant ancestors, early hominins, were just beginning to move away from a life of climbing and foraging and taking their very first steps toward intellectual development. At this excavation site, scientists found a series of compact stone tools, sharp-edged like razor blades, known as Oldowan tools, some of the earliest yet most significant tools in the history of evolution. These stone knives were used to cut fruit, peel vegetables, and even butcher hippos, creatures that were incredibly large and powerful back then. For a hominin species that previously relied only on bare hands and teeth, learning to craft sharp stone tools wasn't just a simple technical breakthrough. It was a revolution in cognition, the very first step in humanity's journey to master nature. Especially notable is archaeologist Tom Plummer from the City University of New York, who explains that these tools didn't just help our ancestors access a richer food supply, but also stimulated the development of their brains and bodies. From cutting, peeling, and butchering, they began to engage in more complex, calculated behaviors, and most importantly, they started thinking beyond pure survival instincts. Another striking detail, hippo bones with clear-cut marks were found near the tools, indicating that these early hominins didn't just scavenge carcasses, they were already organized hunters, albeit with simple stone tools. And you know what? From a tiny stone knife, which might seem insignificant, we glimpse a doorway to the past, where human intelligence first began to take shape through early interactions with the world around them. The discovery on the Homa Peninsula not only helps scientists better understand the first advancements of our ancestors, but also highlights an important fact. It was from these rudimentary tools that humanity's great evolutionary journey truly began. So if you've ever wondered why today we can build skyscrapers, create machines, and explore outer space, the answer might just lie in that moment 3 million years ago when an early ancestor picked up a stone, shaped it into a sharp edge, and cut the first piece of hippo meat in human history. And that's why the story of these ancient stone tools isn't just archaeology. It's the living memory of a civilization growing stronger every day. The mysterious ancient stele that has puzzled scientists for nearly a century. Did you know? In the dry lands of southern Ethiopia, Africa, where it seems there's only sun, wind, and the slow passage of time, there lies a mysterious stone site that even today, archaeologists and experts in ancient symbols have yet to decode. This is Tia, an archaeological complex near the town of the same name, discovered back in 1935, almost 90 years ago, but its perplexing nature remains intact to this day. Here, 36 large standing stone slabs were found, ranging from 3 to over 6.5 feet tall. Among them, 32 are engraved with strange symbols, but the most prominent motif is the image of an ancient sword, repeated over and over as a main symbol. There are also depictions of humans, weapons, and geometric signs, all intricately carved, but no one understands what they mean. As you can imagine, when modern science hits a dead end, local folklore begins spinning various theories. Some say it was a site for ancient rituals. Others claim it tells a forgotten history of war. Some even suggest it's a message left by extraterrestrials. While that sounds far-fetched, it shows just how mysterious Tia is. Archaeologists date this stone site between the 13th and 11th centuries BCE. That means it has stood for over 3,000 years, long before many great civilizations like Rome or the Inca Empire. Interestingly, there's plenty of evidence that Tia might have once been an ancient cemetery connected to prehistoric warriors of East Africa. The sword image, traditionally a symbol of power and combat, is believed to honor those who fell in battle. But that's not all. Near this area, scientists also discovered some human remains dating back to the 14th century CE, thousands of years later than the stones. These people were not the creators of the stelae, but likely used the area as a military camp, resting place, or ritual ground during prolonged conflicts. This layering of history makes Tia much more than a simple site. It's a multi-layered ancient story long forgotten. From a cultural and artistic perspective, the standing stones at Tia are more than grave markers. They carry the distinct imprint of a once flourishing civilization with a unique and sophisticated visual language. Although no one fully understands the messages left behind, everyone agrees that this site is an irreplaceable cultural treasure of humanity. Because of its immense historical and archaeological value, Tia has been recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, becoming one of Africa's most important archaeological symbols. It not only sparks curiosity, but also raises hope that one day we might decode the silent language carved into each stone. So, who created these stelae? Why did they carve such strange symbols? And what is the true message? The answers remain buried somewhere beneath layers of dust and time, but we can only hope that someday soon, experts will unlock all the mysteries of this ancient stone site. Let's wait and see together. The 476,000-year-old willow wood spears that shocked archaeologists. If you've always thought prehistoric people only knew how to smash stones, burn wood, and hunt aimlessly, then after hearing this story, you might need to rethink everything. Deep in the wildlands of Africa, at Kalambo Falls in Zambia, a recent archaeological discovery has left scientists wide-eyed with surprise. Not human bones nor stone tools, but two willow wood spears dating back an astonishing 476,000 years. Yes, you heard that right. Nearly 500,000 years ago, our ancestors, who were thought to have just emerged from the ape-like stage, already knew how to use wood, carving and shaping it intentionally with design and purpose. These two wooden spears, one measuring about 4.6 feet long and the other about 4.9 feet, were meticulously carved using stone tools with astonishing precision. Even to the naked eye, you can clearly see the marks of skillful hands and thoughtful planning. Larry Barham, the lead archaeologist from the University of Liverpool, explained that these wooden spears may have been used to build shelters, act as storage racks, or even serve as foundations for simple structures. Now, does something sound off here? Prehistoric humans building shelters and planning wooden constructions? Yes, exactly. That's what makes this discovery so extraordinary. It challenges our long-held assumptions about early human life. Until now, we believed that settled living, house building, and construction were the exclusive domain of Homo sapiens, modern humans. But now, evidence suggests that Homo heidelbergensis, our distant human ancestor, may have been using natural materials for organized living hundreds of thousands of years ago. According to Barham, carving wood like this is no easy task. It requires coordination between hands, eyes, and a brain capable of planning. This means our ancestors had technical thinking, a trait once thought to belong only to modern humans. Interestingly, no human remains were found at Kalambo Falls, but based on dating and the style of carving tools, researchers lean toward the theory that these were made by Homo heidelbergensis, who lived between 700,000 and 200,000 years ago. They had large skulls, flatter faces, and most importantly, showed signs of cognitive development far beyond other ape species. These wooden spears were luckily preserved by clay layers and an oxygen-poor environment, preventing them from rotting for nearly 500,000 years. Thanks to this, we get a rare chance to touch a vivid and authentic piece of history, rather than only imagining it from fossils or stone tools. No exaggeration, this discovery opens an entirely new chapter about prehistoric humans, not only surviving harsh nature, but also innovating, building, and adapting with astonishing intelligence. From these two simple pieces of wood, we glimpse the foundation of cognition and creativity that began to ignite in our distant past. And once again, Africa proves itself not just as the cradle of humanity, but as the keeper of the greatest stories in our evolutionary journey. The Forgotten City, deep in the forest, no one knows it ever existed. Deep within the dense Arabuko-Sokoke forest on Kenya's northern coast in Africa, an area seemingly filled only with the sounds of birds and thick foliage, there lies something no one expected. A vast ancient city that was once the thriving center of an entire civilization. Its name is Gedi, a name both familiar and mysterious. Although it was discovered long ago, it remains a baffling puzzle for archaeologists worldwide. Gedi is not a small village hidden in the forest. On the contrary, the ruins show that it was once a bustling city, home to around 2,500 residents during the 13th century. What remains today is astonishing. Sturdy houses, castles, mosques, tombs, cemeteries, large road networks, and even warehouses, all spread across more than 7 square miles. This scale is impressive for any medieval African city. But here's where the mystery begins. Despite being such a significant commercial, cultural, and political hub, Gedi is not recorded in any historical documents. It's absent from local historical books, missing in the archives of Arab or Persian traders, and even the Portuguese, who reached Malindi early on, never mentioned Getty in their travel logs. Even more puzzling, this place is not preserved in any oral folk stories, despite the Swahili people's rich tradition of storytelling. So how could such a developed city vanish without a trace from history? Archaeologists have searched for clues to answer this question. What they found only deepened the mystery. The people of Getty disappeared entirely around the 17th century, leaving no evidence of war, disease, or natural disaster, common causes of mass migration. No human remains, no ruins from destruction, no signs of devastation. Just a perfectly preserved city left to time, moss, and the forest winds wearing it down over the centuries. Some local residents believe Getty is cursed, that it was once the domain of evil spirits, which is why the entire city was mysteriously abandoned. Folklore says a curse forced the inhabitants to leave quietly, leaving behind a ruined city as a warning to future generations. If you look closer, there's another paradox. Why was such a major trading center located deep inside a forest, far from the coastline, and not near any main trade routes? This only makes researchers believe Getty may have played a special role, either as a secret settlement or a stopover for an elite community that history forgot. Today, Getty is recognized as one of Kenya's most important archaeological heritage sites, but its mysteries remain unsolved. Despite dozens of excavations, analyses, and restorations, the truth about why this city was forgotten, and especially why its people suddenly vanished, still lies somewhere deep in the forest or lost in the shadows of time. So, what do you think happened to Getty? Is there some unknown force at work that we have yet to discover? Leave your guesses in the comments. Who knows? Maybe your boldest theories could be the key to unlocking a history buried for over 700 years. It's certainly possible. The treasure ship and over 100 mysterious elephant tusks. Did you know that just off the coast of Namibia, hidden beneath the sea for nearly 500 years, lies a treasure trove recently discovered that reveals fascinating stories about African trade and wildlife? Here's how it happened. On an ordinary day, a group of miners off Namibia's coast stumbled upon the wreck of the Bom Jesus, a Portuguese ship that sank in 1533 during its voyage from Europe to India. But the surprise wasn't just the ship itself, it was what was inside. Hundreds of precious items, including over 100 African elephant tusks. At this point, you might think these tusks were just ordinary trade goods, right? But no, their value goes far beyond that. After careful study, archaeologists and biologists discovered that these tusks came from the African forest elephant, Loxodonta cyclotis, not the savanna elephant as many had assumed. This is a major finding because the forest elephant population has either vanished or dramatically declined due to poaching and habitat loss. Curious how these tusks remained almost perfectly preserved underwater for centuries? The secret lies in the shipwreck itself. When the Bom Jesus sank, the copper and lead sheathing around the tusks dragged them down deep, forming a natural protective layer that prevented decay and erosion from the ocean environment. Moreover, the cold ocean currents in the area helped preserve the DNA inside the tusks exceptionally well. Thanks to these perfect conditions, scientists successfully extracted DNA from 44 of the tusks. The results showed they came from at least 17 different forest elephant herds spread across West Africa. This not only sheds light on the biodiversity of the past, but also paints a vivid picture of the complex elephant ivory trade network during the 16th century. Even more fascinating, carbon and nitrogen isotope analysis of the tusks revealed a surprising truth. These elephants didn't just live in dense forests, they also roamed grasslands. This challenges previous beliefs that forest elephants exclusively inhabited tropical rainforests. Through this, we gain a deeper understanding of the ancient habitat and migration patterns of forest elephants, giving us a more comprehensive view of West Africa's ecological history. But the story doesn't end there. The fact that the tusks on the Bom Jesus came from multiple herds suggests something else, that West African communities back then were part of a vibrant and diverse ivory trading network. However, a big mystery remains. Did the Portuguese traders collect this ivory from a single port or from several ports along the West African coast? Researchers are still digging deeper with more advanced analyses to find the answer. Either way, through the story of the Bom Jesus and its treasure of elephant tusks, we don't just get to admire priceless artifacts, we also expand our understanding of trade history, ecology, and the life of African forest elephants nearly 500 years ago. Who would have thought that a shipwreck on the ocean floor could tell us so many mysterious and valuable stories? This is a testament to the power of science and curiosity, connecting our past with the present in the most vivid and surprising ways. 230-million-year-old dinosaur fossil discovered for the first time in Zimbabwe. If you could take a journey back in time, which era would you choose? Some might pick ancient Egypt, others might be curious about the Roman era, but if you're a dinosaur fan, you'd want to stop about 230 million years ago. Because at that very time, a small yet fascinating creature roamed what is now Zimbabwe, and recently, scientists successfully excavated its nearly complete fossil skeleton. This dinosaur has a rather unusual name, Embirosaurus rothi. The name is a combination of Mbire district, where the fossil was found, and Michael Rath, the paleontologist who first reported prehistoric sites in the area. But don't let the long name overwhelm you. The real excitement lies in this little creature itself. Embirosaurus rothi was only about 3 feet tall and weighed around 66 pounds, roughly the size of a large dog today. But don't underestimate it. This dinosaur had a lean body, a long tail, and moved quickly on 2 legs. Its small head with a flexible beak suggested it was an omnivore. Insects, young leaves, soft branches, nothing was off the menu for this adaptable generalist eater. Its diverse diet shows it was extremely capable of surviving in the harsh climate and environment of the late Triassic period. In fact, Christopher Griffin, the lead author of the study, currently at Yale University, called this discovery a major breakthrough in paleontology. And that's no exaggeration. Dinosaur fossils from 230 million years ago are extremely rare, especially in Africa. Until now, fossils of this age had only been found scattered across South America and India. This discovery opens up a fascinating hypothesis. Could it be that today's continents were once a single massive landmass, known as Pangaea? Embirosaurus rothi found in Zimbabwe is a crucial piece of evidence supporting that theory. It shares clear similarities with ancient dinosaurs discovered in Brazil and Argentina. This shows that early dinosaurs were not confined to one geographic region but roamed across an undivided world. Moreover, the Embirosaurus rothi fossil helps fill a major gap in the archaeological record, which has long lacked evidence of early dinosaur species. It's like the final bone needed to complete the picture of the dawn of the dinosaur era, the time when giant creatures gradually came to dominate the Earth. And if you're a lover of exploration and ancient mysteries, here's some good news. The nearly complete Embirosaurus rothi skeleton is now on display at the Zimbabwe Natural History Museum in Bulawayo. It's a place that not only preserves fossils, but also safeguards the story of millions of years of life's evolution. If you get the chance, it's definitely worth a visit. 2,000-year-old tomb of the Aksumite princess. In the legendary lands of Ethiopia, once the bustling center of an ancient empire called Aksum, archaeologists have made a discovery that has stunned the world. It's not a treasure of gold or a grand temple, but the 2,000-year-old tomb of a woman known as the Sleeping Princess of the Forest. And this time, it's not a fairy tale, but real life. When the tomb was opened, the scene inside left everyone speechless. The skeleton of a woman lay gently on her side, hands gracefully supporting her chin, as if dreaming through a 1,000-year sleep. The strange thing was her eyes, at the time of burial, still seemed to gaze directly at a Roman bronze mirror, a luxury item extremely rare in Africa during that era. It's believed she was a very special woman, possibly royalty, nobility, or a powerful figure in ancient Aksum society. Louise Schofield, former head of the British Museum and a direct participant in the excavation, said the woman was buried with countless exquisite jewelry, cosmetics, and beauty tools. From the bronze ring on her hand to the luxurious beaded belt and a necklace made of thousands of colorful beads, these all clearly indicated she was no ordinary person. This tomb was discovered in the ancient city of Aksum during a 6-week excavation. What made archaeologists even more amazed were the artifacts found alongside the skeleton. From a remarkably well-preserved Roman glass perfume bottle to 2 intact drinking cups, one designed to catch the deceased's last tear, a detail both heartbreaking and profoundly moving. That wasn't all. They also found a clay jar, believed to have held food and water for the dead on their journey to the afterlife. These details provide incredibly important clues for studying the ancient people's eating habits and burial rituals, parts of history rarely documented. One can say the story of the Aksumite princess not only brings to life the image of a noble woman, but also opens new hypotheses about ancient trade. The items bearing Roman cultural marks, from the bronze mirror to the crafted glass, show that the Romans traded with the Aksumite kingdom much earlier than previously thought by scholars. This further confirms Aksum's role as a vital trade center linking Africa, Asia, and Europe in ancient times. Aksum was not only a prosperous kingdom, but also a land of legends, from the legendary Queen of Sheba to mysterious underground heritage sites yet to be fully explored. Aksum's golden age lasted from the 1st to the 9th century, dominating the Red Sea coast and serving as a trade hub from the Gulf of Aden to the seas of modern-day Somalia. The discovery of the sleeping princess in Aksum today feels like a whisper from the past, telling future generations about a brilliant era where women were not just beautiful figures, but symbols of power, beauty, and connections between civilizations. Who knows how many untold stories still lie buried beneath the earth, waiting to be awakened? Do you think fairy tales are just fantasies? After this discovery, maybe we should think again, because in real life, sometimes there are sleeps that last 2 millennia, and waking once is enough to shake the whole world. Giant footprint, a clue to a forgotten ancient human species. Have you ever imagined that giant humans, tall and massive beyond any modern person, once walked the earth? It sounds like a story from Greek mythology or folk legends, right? But just recently, deep in the remote Rocky Mountains of southern Africa, a shocking discovery has forced archaeologists to rethink human history. A giant footprint measuring nearly 47 inches long was found, and many researchers believe it could be living evidence of an ancient human species of enormous size. This footprint was found imprinted on a vertical rock face, a detail that made many people skeptical at first. After all, who walks barefoot and leaves a footprint on a sheer rock wall? Even the most optimistic found it hard to believe this was genuine. However, scientists did not dismiss it outright. They conducted extensive technical analyses and thorough geological surveys, and concluded that the footprint originally lay flat on the ground. Over millions of years of tectonic activity, the rock layer was pushed and tilted until it stood nearly vertical, as it is today. In other words, the footprint didn't climb the wall as rumors suggested. Rather, time and natural forces literally bent it out of shape. Ironically, this very process turned into a protector of the precious imprint, preventing it from being buried or destroyed over time. But there's more. Another fascinating hypothesis was proposed. The footprint wasn't made on soft clay or sand, types of ground that could easily wash away after heavy rains. Instead, it might have been pressed into a layer of cooled magma, while the ground still held residual heat from ancient volcanic activity. Because of this, when the footprint was made, the surface was soft enough to capture the shape, but quickly hardened into stone, creating a time sculpture that has survived for millions of years without fading. The big question remains: who or what left this footprint? With a length of nearly 47 inches, the creature that made it must have stood around 16 feet tall, far beyond the average height of modern humans, and even double the height of the tallest individuals ever recorded. Could there have been a giant human species that lived alongside, or even before, our Homo sapiens ancestors? Or is this just a strange geological phenomenon that coincidentally resembles a human footprint? Science has yet to find a definitive answer. Some believe this is forgotten evidence from a chapter of history that science has not yet reached. Others urge caution, saying more interdisciplinary research is needed, from paleontology and geology to archaeological anthropology, to truly understand what happened in this remote part of Africa. But whether you believe in legends or simply love the mysteries of the past, it's hard to deny that this footprint opens a new door, a door leading to a time not found in textbooks where enormous, powerful creatures may have roamed completely beyond our current understanding. What do you think? Is this a message from a forgotten ancient era, or just a playful trick of nature? Who knows? Maybe millions of years from now, the footprints we leave today will become mysteries future generations will struggle to explain. 444-million-year-old fossil preserves muscles, organs as if it died yesterday. If there's something so ancient that it surpasses imagination, it's Sioux, a 444-million-year-old fossil recently unearthed in South Africa. It sounds like science fiction, but this is a real discovery, so extraordinary that it has shaken the field of paleontology to its core. The story began on May 15th, when a team of scientists excavating ancient sediment at Soom Shale, a low-oxygen rock formation about 250 miles from Cape Town, unexpectedly discovered a bizarre creature. It had no head, no legs, no shell, yet nearly perfect soft tissue preservation. They named it Kurbos Susane, nicknamed Su, as if greeting an old friend after nearly 500 million years resting underground. A small, soft-bodied creature that lived over 444 million years ago, nearly 200 million years before the dinosaurs, that still retains the shape of muscles, tendons, and even internal organs. In fact, many ancient Egyptian mummies aren't this well preserved. According to Professor Sarah Gabbett from the University of Leicester, who led the research team, Su is a biological treasure. Though its head and legs are gone, what remains is a miracle of time. Normally, after death, soft tissue decomposes rapidly, vanishing in just a few days, leaving only bones or hard shells to fossilize. Yet with Su, death became preservation. Why? The answer lies in the unusual geological conditions where it was found. The Soom Shale sediment from the late Ordovician period was once a deep, oxygen-poor sea saturated with deadly hydrogen sulfide gas, the familiar rotten egg smell that's highly toxic to living things. This deadly environment was the perfect preservative, halting soft tissue decay and creating what scientists call biological mummification. In other words, Su is a genuine pre-dinosaur mummy. What's bittersweet is that to date, Su remains the only specimen ever discovered. No other similar fossils have been found. This mystery raises questions. Is Su a completely separate branch on the tree of life? Or an ancient ancestor of modern arthropods like insects, shrimp, and crabs? Its body structure suggests it may belong to the segmented animal group, but scientists don't rule out that it could represent a totally new species, a lost evolutionary branch with no other fossil traces except this miraculous specimen. Another remarkable fact is that Su lived during one of Earth's 5 great mass extinctions. It's estimated that about 85% of living species were wiped out by drastic climate change and intense glaciation at that time. Perhaps Su survived part of this cataclysm, but ultimately succumbed to harsh conditions. Yet miraculously, its death marked a new beginning for modern science. It reminds us that every layer of rock beneath our feet may hold secrets from millions of years of history, and sometimes just one missing piece like this can rewrite part of life's story on Earth. So what about you? What do you think if there are many more Sus out there waiting to be discovered? Could it be that we've only scratched the surface of a vast historical ocean? Leave your thoughts below. Who knows, maybe you'll help solve this unfinished story. 500-year-old shipwreck of explorer Vasco da Gama? Beneath the clear blue waves off the coast of Kenya, where sunlight filters through crystal-clear water, lies a secret that has rested undisturbed for half a millennium. A centuries-old shipwreck gradually emerging, possibly a clue to one of the most famous voyages in maritime history. Just about 1,600 feet from shore, at a depth of roughly 20 feet near the town of Malindi, archaeologists discovered an ancient ship encrusted with time and coral. From above, all that can be seen are cracked wooden fragments, some corroded copper ingots, and scattered pieces of ivory in the sand. But when pieced together, they tell a fascinating 16th century story. The tale of Vasco da Gama and the ship named São Jorge. If you've studied history, the name Vasco da Gama is likely familiar. He was the man who opened the first sea route from Europe to India around the Cape of Good Hope, turning Portugal into the most powerful maritime empire of its time. Yet few know that his final voyage in 1524 ended in tragedy when he died shortly after arriving in Goa. And part of that journey may still rest quietly on the floor of the Indian Ocean to this day. Under the direction of maritime archaeologist Felipe Castro from the University of Coimbra, the research team surveyed a coral reef stretching more than 15.5 miles from Malindi to Ras Ngomeni. They excavated 2 large trenches at a suspected shipwreck site, recovering the bow and wooden frame of the vessel. What makes this discovery even more compelling are the accompanying artifacts, copper and ivory, both common trade goods in the 16th century Indian Ocean commerce network, bolstering the hypothesis that this is indeed the remains of the São Jorge. Now, imagine you're a diver, slowly descending into the ocean depths. Amid colorful coral reefs, you spot a timber beam, a rusted piece of metal. Then, like a puzzle coming together, you realize you're standing among the ruins of a legendary ship. That mix of excitement and awe is exactly what drives archaeologists to dive day and night, chasing echoes from the past. So, what was Vasco da Gama doing off the coast of Kenya? The answer lies in his final mission. In 1524, King João III sent him back to India to restore colonial order. But less than a few months after arriving in Goa, he died, most likely from malaria. Among the escort ships was the São Jorge, which, according to records, sank near the East African coast, the very site now under excavation. If confirmed, this would be the oldest European shipwreck ever found in the Indian Ocean, a groundbreaking discovery. Cesar Beta, the archaeologist who first located the wreck in 2013, continues collecting samples and conducting analyses to verify its identity. The Kenyan government is even planning to turn the area into an underwater museum where visitors can dive and witness this submerged heritage firsthand. Though many questions remain unanswered, one thing is certain: Vasco da Gama's story isn't over. The fragments lying beneath the sea may be the final key to understanding the age of discovery. Humanity's thirst to cross oceans, expand horizons, and accept death in exchange for knowledge. What about you? If given the chance, would you dare to dive into the depths off Kenya's coast and touch history with your own hands? Ancient rock murals carved on hot stones in the Sahara Desert. In a place dominated by relentless sun, wind, and dust, where it seems nothing could survive, deep in the heart of the arid Sahara Desert lies an incredibly precious archaeological treasure. Ancient murals depicting a very different Sahara, one that was once a lush green savanna filled with forest elephants, crocodiles, and gentle rivers. It sounds like a fairy tale, but these paintings are vivid evidence that has amazed archaeologists worldwide. The story begins in 1933 when Leo Frobenius, a renowned German Africanist, ventured into the Fezzan region of Libya and stumbled upon strange images stretching across dark rock walls. These were not meaningless scribbles, but a vibrant portrait of ancient wildlife: buffalo, elephants, ostriches, lions, ibex, goats, rhinos, and especially hippos, animals that today live only near water. So what happened? How could hippos once swim in the middle of a barren desert? The answer lies tens of thousands of years ago, when the Sahara was not the scorching desert it is today. Around 10,000 to 12,000 years ago, North Africa's climate was much wetter and cooler. Back then, the Sahara was a vast grassland with thriving greenery, rivers, and abundant wildlife, a perfect place for humans to live and record their lives through rock art. These murals were painted using ochre and white clay, combined with natural pigments from the stones, which helped them endure through time. Despite thousands of years of sun and wind, these drawings remain remarkably clear, almost as if freshly made. What's even more fascinating is that nearby lies an ancient riverbed called Wadi, now just a dry stream but once a lifeline sustaining a vibrant ecosystem. Then time changed everything. Over the next 5 to 7 million years, the Sahara's climate slowly dried out. Grazing animals vanished, followed by predators. Humans were forced to retreat from this harsh environment, but not everyone left. A small number stayed, adapting to the intense sun and becoming nomadic traders who controlled caravan routes across the desert. They traded salt and precious stones for wealth from distant lands. Evidence for this comes from discoveries in the 1960s when Italian archaeologists unearthed buried treasures, gold jewelry, Roman coins, and finely crafted artifacts like drinking cups, ivory combs, and Phoenician bead necklaces, showing that this region was once a vital hub in ancient trade networks. During this period, stunning murals continued to appear, especially in mountainous areas around the desert known as the River-Rich Plateau. Though simple by modern standards, these artworks reveal incredible creativity and cultural spirit. Today, only about 2 million people live in the Sahara, with a population density just 1/150th that of the United States. But beneath the sand lies a complex, rich past waiting to be retold. What was once a green kingdom, buried beneath desert dust, is gradually revealing clues about people, nature, and history we thought lost forever. Recent archaeological discoveries in Africa have not only expanded our understanding of human history, but also raised many new questions about the origins and development of humankind. Each find serves as an important piece of the puzzle, enriching the bigger picture of our past. These studies prove that despite what we already know, there are still many mysteries about human history yet to be solved, and new discoveries will continue to change the way we see ourselves. What impresses you most about Africa? Let me know by leaving a comment below. For now, goodbye and see you next time.